I am running late due to nothing but my own poor time management. I have to be in the car driving in about 15 minutes. And I still have to shower before then. But I didn't want to miss the ice bath. There's a good thing about this is it forces you to slow down, forces you to commit, forces you to be present, forces you to, you've got somewhere to be every morning, every day. I need to be here, I need to get in here, this is a commitment I've made. To be fair, I only made the commitment originally to do for 7 days. And I think we're at the end of our second or third week now. I can't remember which. Third week, I think. We're coming towards the end of our third week. So it must be beneficial because I'm still doing it. As uncomfortable as it is on a cold morning to come in and jump in this thing. It must be having some benefit because I'm still here doing it. And the weather has been so gorgeous all this week. It's been nice to be out in the morning and standing in the sun. After, you get out of this after being freezing cold in the water that's been chilling overnight, to come out and stand in the sun, and it's absolutely glorious because everything feels warm after this. Everything feels comfortable, everything feels warm. I managed to recover the lack of efficiency, lack of productivity this week a little bit, and I managed to get some stuff out, some videos out. Still improvements there, still things that I need to do, still need to stop procrastinating, still need to get that morning routine a bit better. I'm working out, I'm ice bathing every day, but I'm kind of lingering between ice bathing. Sometimes I jump in the bath for an hour. I probably need to be a little bit more have a little bit more urgency about me after the ice bath to get straight in the shower, get some work done before lunch, just be a bit more dedicated to get stuff done in the morning, which I've not been doing. But we move. It's a beautiful day. It's Saturday. We've streamed for a couple of hours this morning, and we are moving. We're improving. Right. Time for a long one today, so we're going to get out, get showered, and get in the car. Let's go. Okay, so the mad rush actually turned out not to be a mad rush at all. I thought I needed to leave by 11 a.m, but I actually needed to leave by 12. So I rushed, got in my ice bath, got all that done, got out, got showered, was ready to go at 11, and then suddenly realised actually I don't need to leave till 12, and discovered I had this whole extra hour. So instead of just wasting it, I wasted quite a lot of it, but instead of wasting it, what I thought I'd do is, let me make a bit more of a thing of this trip. Let me make a bit more of a movie, a short vlog of this. I talked in my last video about trying to be more creative every day. And the fact that I have all of this equipment, and you know, especially this camera, where it's like, actually it's so easy for me to carry this around, that I have the opportunity to do all of these things where I could add stuff to my portfolio that I would usually go, oh, it's not worth doing that. Because I went to this event and I took some, you know, some shots that I had no real consideration over what these shots were, but I took these shots and made what I thought was quite a good promo for this brand. And I was like, you know what? There's so many more opportunities for me to do that. You know, what can I do if I go to a bloody forest? How can I make a promo for that forest? How can I make that part of my show reel? How can I make that part of my portfolio? And you know, I didn't consider that at all before until I made this video. So I thought, let me get some different shots of me getting in the car, you know, kind of set up shots for me getting in the car and then driving after the ice bath, etc., etc. There's probably still stuff that I'm missing here, but you know, I'm doing it, and it just showed me also like how much I actually piss about in the mornings. Like, it's so much, because today when I thought I had to leave by 11, I was ice bathed, showered and ready to leave within about 10 minutes. Now usually in the morning, there's parts of my morning routine that have to be stationary for me, they're standard. Baby Charm usually gets to nursery about 8, between 8 and half 8. You know, that could be slightly earlier, for sure, could be slightly earlier. I could wake her up earlier, but we tend to, it's quite an organic start to the morning. Then I come back, I work out, depending on how long the workout is, that might be an hour, might be between 30 minutes and an hour usually. And then from there, I ice bath, and that's where it all goes wrong. So usually I'm ice bathed, you know, I'm kind of ready, I should be ready to start working at about 10 a.m. That's when I should be ready to start working. But the reality is I piss about. Sometimes I get in the bath, sometimes I'm looking at my phone. I'm doing things to distract and procrastinate myself, right? But if I was really efficient, I would be down in my office working by 10 at the very latest. Which I realise for most people, they're going, Jesus, that's so late. I get it, I understand completely. But the workouts are becoming important. Workouts and the ice bath have become an important part of my morning routine. So I'm sacrificing some work time to make sure that my kind of mental and physical health is taken care of. So that's one thing. But sometimes I'll be like, oh, I'll just have a bath. Especially if the ice bath has been particularly cold. I'll have a normal bath and warm up a bit. And I'll end up sitting in the bath for like an hour and a half. And here's the issue, right? If it gets past 11 a.m, bad times for me. It's bad times for me if it gets past 11 a.m. The reason being, when it gets past 11 a.m, in my head, I start going, I haven't really got enough time to achieve anything of significance before I have lunch, because me and Mrs. Charm have lunch together most days at 12. So I'm just gonna wait till after lunch. I'll go and make a coffee, I'll start prepping lunch, I'll start cooking, or I might start cooking, you know, I'll cook the dinner for that evening. And some days that's fine. Cooking dinner for the evening, prepping for later on, freeing up my mind from those tasks. Sometimes, you know, that's great. But there are times when it's just, I'm wasting time. Really what I should do is go and achieve what I can achieve within that hour, between 11 and 12, or 11 and 11:45 when I start cooking lunch. Achieve what I can achieve, and then go and have lunch, and then come back down and finish working. It's a mental thing that I've got to get over. I've said multiple times that like efficiency and productivity, I like not procrastinating on work, have to be a bigger thing for me. Have to be a bigger thing for me, because I know I'm letting myself down in some cases. But also just allowing every moment to have the potential for creativity is so key as well, because it doesn't matter if I'm going to a forest, if I'm going into a city, if I'm going to a restaurant, if I'm going to whatever I'm going to, like, why is that? That should be an opportunity for me to go, right, let me make a little promo for this, let me make a promo for this place, let me make a video for this service, whatever it is I'm doing. Let me do that and add it to my portfolio. I don't care whether I'm getting paid for it, I don't care whether I'm getting whether it's taking my time up. Like, if I'm doing something in that time anyway. Let me make it a creative moment. And that idea all came from, like I said, I went to an event and I filmed minimal footage there. Not as much as I should. Not as much as I would have done if I'd have gone, oh, I'm being paid to do a promo for these guys. I was just kind of like, oh, maybe this will be a vlog, maybe it'll be nothing. I've filmed at some events before and I've like, it's not really turned out to be anything. And I had the same kind of opinion of this one. And actually what I came out with was a really good like promo, great music, good editing. You know, looking back, I would have taken more shots and I would have made a bigger thing of it. But it just made me realise I can be creative. You know, there's so many opportunities to be creative that I'm not taking advantage of right now. There is an abundance of opportunity around me and I'm getting in my own way a little bit. So this is kind of into fruition, bringing it into fruition. I thought I've got this extra hour that has been created from nowhere that I didn't think I had. Let me get some setup shots of getting in the car, unplugging it, you know, etc., etc. Make it feel like it's a little bit more of a story. Get in the car, have a little chat with you guys, and take you along on this trip with me. And part of the problem that I have, again, this is a mental block. It's not, you know, there's nothing physically stopping me from doing this. But this camera that I'm filming on now, the fact that it's so compact, the fact that it's so easy to carry around, it has pros and cons. When I used to use my ZV-E10, my Sony ZV-E10, which is a small mirrorless vlogging camera, I still had to be much more considered with that when I was going out to shoot a vlog or something, because there was just a slightly more setup. Like I had to have my tripod really with me. I had to set up each shot in a more considered way. I had to make sure that ISO, make sure that all the technical stuff with the camera was good, and then I could go and film. It was a different mic that was more difficult to connect. There was just more considerations that had to be put into place when I was filming a vlog. But it meant that I was a little bit more prepared and a little bit more invested in the thing when I was going out. So, you know, you'd end up with much more kind of story-rich, more cinematic, I guess, footage. Whereas with this camera, because it's kind of a handheld vlogging camera, it's brilliant. So good for running and gunning. Like if I'm going out of the house, this thing fits in my pocket and I can shoot really great footage on it, really, you know, high quality stuff. But I'm much less considered because I'm like, oh well, I'll just put it in my pocket and we go. And actually it means that what I end up producing is much less rich and much less, varied, because it's much more convenient. I think sometimes from restriction, from inconvenience, you get something that's much richer and much more innovative because you have to work within the restrictions that you've gained. I'm really interested in working in that space. How do I work within the restrictions that are around me? So, here we are, not procrastinating, not making excuses, creating extra time out of thin air that we didn't know we had, and making the most of even the most mundane trips. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you haven't already, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'd love to have you as part of the community. You can even become a member and get early access to content like this by clicking join below. But if you don't want to pay for this content, that's absolutely fine. Likes, shares, subscriptions and comments are massively appreciated. I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and I'll see you on the next video.